Welcome, everyone. We're back for another very special edition of the GG Millions. Jeff Gross alongside Mike Wasserman join us again on the show. A pleasure to have you, Mike. How are you?
Doing good. Excited. I know a couple people on this FT, so this will be a fun experience to see what they're up to, you know?
Yeah, listen, this is almost World Series time. We're getting into it. Again, just a treat to see some of these players. Yuri, the nerd guy, the man, the myth, the legend. These guys have crazy live earnings. Also been on the show many times. ElkY, one of those guys that does it live, does it online. We're going to take a look at the final table and dive into what's going on here shortly. And again, a lot of money playing for 10K buy-in from Sunday, play to a winner every Tuesday. We're going to dive in, take a look at who we got. This is a very loaded final table. I thought last week was the most loaded ever. This is right there. Michael Adamo has won, I believe, 8 times, 3 wins in 4 trips to the final table in this season of the GG Millions. Today, 1.5 million in the prize pool. Again, the payouts of ICM, something we always talk about. We're going to lean on Mike for that today. I know he's been studying, he's brushed up on what's going on. Over 300,000 US dollars to first, 44K for 9th place. A lot to play for, and the resumes of these guys just keep building. It's pretty impressive. Really amazing to see what they're doing live and again online. Some guys that do both, as we are down to 9 of 152 players. Last week was a unique distribution of chips. Today we're going to get to see how the chip leader gets to lean on the stacks. Again, position so important at the table. We see the Espelin, a little bit of an unknown compared to these other players. Ottoman, multiple time winner on the GG Millions, very talented player. ElkY, 55 big blinds, a short stack with 15 big blinds. And again, Austria and Brazil, I love saying it, they always seem to find a way to the final table. And we do have multiple Austrian flags, 1 Brazilian today. AD from Ukraine as well, very impressive player. We've seen a lot. We're going to be talking about all these guys and more. Mike, I'm excited. We're going to be gambling for a dinner. We got the audience giveaways. The tweet will go up here in a second, as well as a $50 or $100 giveaway for the. We're going to see a hand right away. Let's just get this out of the way so we don't lose players. Red or black, you choose, and we'll do our snake draft.
All right, black. Let's go.
You got black. I got red. We got AD with ace king suited, and jacks. We may see an all-in right away. That will count as a flop. Hope everyone's enjoying. I'm in Las Vegas. Mike, where are you today in the world?
Right now I am in my office, and oh my god, we have an all-in.
We have an all-in, and you got a black flop. I win the flop. That's nice. The red is a flop. Ace king is ahead of jacks, and AD may be knocking out our friend AL, who is going to be knocked out. I believe has won a GG Million, so he will be knocked out in the first hand of play on stream today. We are down to 8. That's for a man. I will get first pick. I am going to dive right in, and I got to go with I know he's your friend. I know he's tough, but I'm gonna go with my man Yuri. He's been on the podcast.
No.
My wife's Brazilian. It's an obvious choice. He's got a lot of chips, not the most. Espelin the leader, but I'm going with Yuri right off the rip. I'm gonna take him, man, and go blue. My man Nutty Wolves in the house, giving me a shout out. Good luck, brother. Rocking the Canada flag, and he's saying F Ohio State. Listen, I respect Ohio State, but nice to see big Michigan getting the win in the national championship. Good to see you. Good luck to you. Look forward to watching you play. Make your pick, Mike. Let's get our draft out of the way.
All right, let me look at these stack sizes. Man, I wanted to pick Yuri, obviously. Me and him go way back, and I'm a big fan of the Brazilians. So let's see. We have Ole. This is actually pretty tough. I'll go. Is that Christian?
Christian in. Let's see where you're looking at for which one.
I just can't read the name. Let me see. Oh no, Audemars.
No? Audemars. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a little bit blurry. I'll go Audemars and I know Espelin has chips, but I can't remember how well he played in the last one. I mean, I gotta go Espelin since he's chip leading by so much. I have to have him in there.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a very happy Ole. This guy he's one of the unicorns of the game. I'm happy. I'm thrilled with that. I thought you were going to pay down for that, but Espelin's got chips. He actually he's going to take probably a little bit of a hit here. Yuri with the 2 pair on the river. He's got an 8, and depending on the sizing, what goes with here, he may pay off. I mean, it's wide range, big blind defending, definitely has some misdraws, and interesting in a check, and that's going to work out well because Espelin does get the check back as Yuri will take that pot. So I got Ole and Yuri. Your pick.
You got Ole, you got Yuri. Okay, so I'll take Nutty Wolves.
Nutty Wolves. Wow.
I will I will not dox him though, unless he wants to be doxed.
All right, you got Nutty Wolves. I'll take AD, man. A lot of really good pedigree on the show. He's got 1.8
Yeah.
million there. I'm gonna go with my man right there. All right. Nutty
All
Wolf
right.
gave Big Blue a shout out, Michigan, and I rooting for him too. Good luck to you, my friend, today, and I got AD.
Let me see how this hand goes before I take a domo.
That's true. Definitely a spot he could take. He does pass.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take a domo.
Adamo, and I believe that leaves Sven, correct?
Yeah.
Sven. So I got out of the Austrian, there's two, Ole and Sven left. I will take, yes. Okay, cool. We got 4 and 4 audience. Be 100 if one of my players win, 50 if Mike wins. We're gonna dive in. We're gonna have a very fun final table. And there he is, Adamo, getting some loaded up kings and Nutty Wolves, ace 9 off. We'll see if he is gonna come in. Maybe I think, do we have a slate? Is there a pause? Is yours paused?
No, it got through. The raise got through.
Oh,
Is that what
okay.
you're asking?
Yeah, my table is frozen, I believe. I do not see.
I'll call it for now.
Okay. Let me just see what's going on here. Again, welcome everyone. Let us know you're watching from the world. Pleasure to have you today on this very, very exciting final table. Just like last week was a treat. Today, again, it is a special table with a lot of high profile players today. So it's gonna be fun to watch. And I am where you call the action, please, because my thing is frozen.
Yeah, no problem. Take care of it. Yeah, so Yuri gets the raise through with the ace 4. It's like a little bit wide, but I think the way the stacks line up, it's pretty normal to be opening in that spot. Yeah, it's just gonna fold to Sven here. It'll be interesting to see if I mean, I assume he's gonna induce here with the ace king suited. I wonder if he had ace king off, if he would do the same, or if he would just go for the shove. It's kind of rough. I guess the risk premium for him is lowest, so he wants to gamble a little bit, try to pick up some chips. It is rough though. If you have a hand like, ace queen off or ace jack offsuit here on the button, and you let the big blind realize equity, as one of the medium stacks, you might want to deny equity more. I think you want to gamble a bit more though, as I said, as the short stack here. So, and he just goes with the one big blind C bet. He gets the float. So Audemars is definitely looking to do something dirty here, but I don't think this is I think one more bet's gonna get it done. Unless he bets one big again, but I don't think that's happening.
Guys, excuse me for 1 second. I'm gonna close out here and come right back because it's not. I'm still on a Adamo with pocket kings. Nothing has happened, and I can hear you and see you fine, Mike. So give me a sec, guys, and
take your time.
Be right back.
So he goes with a little over 2 bigs, and this is probably just going to get it done. There's no reason to really go much bigger. I think when you start to play a lot of pots off of shallow stack sizes, there's just mix that with final tables, you just end up using a lot of small sizings in a lot of spots. Like the direct math that people are getting. So if someone's getting 5-1, it doesn't mean that they're actually going to call with that hand because there's like reverse implied odds because of ICM. So you'll see a lot of small betting off shallow stack sizes, but we're going to see it all here at this final table because it's all over the place. A lot of really talented players at this final table. I'm really excited to watch this one. Esplin goes with the ace 5 open. I imagine Ole is not going to be folding the button with a suited ace here. Any suited ace.
All right, I'm back to.
Yeah, you see it?
Yeah, it's good. Caught up now. Beautiful.
Cool. Ole 3-bet, and Esplin just folded the ace 5. And we got Yuri has the aces, and Audemars has the 10s. I imagine there's going to be a flat here on the button. Yeah, I don't see too much of a reason for him to 3-bet here. I think this hand plays really well as a flat. He can call here and maybe call a shove from a damo from the big. Even he could call a shove from the small blind as well. So this is just going to be like a perfect flatting spot. I think he would flat as strong as jacks here probably.
Yeah, multi-way. Adamo does choose with the 8-6 suit. I've seen players in the big blind multi-way play extremely tight. Of course, Adamo risk premium very, very low, right? He is essentially tied for the shortest stack. Also suited, connected, low kind of the board, kind of a little safer. I think I'd be curious to see exactly what he's folding there. If he calls 8-6 off, or how wide he goes. But as played, aces in a multi-way pot, we do see Yuri start with a check. He has the ace of hearts, and Adamar kind of in a weird spot. He's got a pretty good hand, but also multi-way. I think that
He's going to bet here. He's betting here for sure.
Interesting pros and cons. I mean, he does have I think interesting. Yeah, I would think it's favorable bet, but hey, look, Mike, that's why it's fun to play. I actually thought it was like a mix. I would think that he'd slightly more bet, but also have some checks. And as it plays, a pretty interesting card does pick up outs for Adamo, has the flush draw, as Adamar has tens. And Yuri though now on the turn, maybe you want to start thinking about some bets, maybe bigger bets, a lot of draws, and he does go for a larger sizing.
I actually do think that Yuri is capable of just literally randomizing here. What I'm curious about, I like the check at some frequency here with the aces. What I'm curious about is if he didn't have the ace of hearts, how much that would affect his c betting frequency in the spot. Having the ace of hearts, you feel real protected. The problem with checking back the tens, and I don't particularly like doing this in multi-way pots because your equity is split between three of you, and you really want to get heads up as much as possible. When you have a hand like tens, even though it can improve really on future streets, like there's not really many ways for it to improve. I guess a 9, you can turn some straight draws, but if it's a heart, you just have kind of tainted outs if you hit a 10. You want to thin the field, and you want to, like I say always, like you want to be heads up, you want to be in position, you want to be the aggressor. And like as soon as he checks back, he caps himself against Yuri. So now Yuri is going to feel very comfortable reading Audemars' hand and value betting, based on his read. Whereas if Audemars bet, it would have changed his range a bit. So Yuri's going to be targeting the weaker hands and the showdown heavy hands in his range instead of like the top of his range. So Yuri's going to be playing the hand differently. And as far as defending multi-way, I think if Adamo had a hand like Queen 9 offsuit or something, he would have folded. But this low suited connector is going to do well, especially in like a chip EV-esque situation for him, being one of the shorter stacks. So I like the peel by him. I don't like the turn call. But he's Adamo and I'm me. So I think I'm not sure about the sizing here. I imagine, what is that? 5 something or 6 something? I can't see.
556. So yeah, like 60% pot or a little over half. I mean, he's going big. I mean, it's actually the board's a little dicey. 2 pairs, combos. There's three-way here. There's 9-10 suited. He doesn't have a 10. Gets there. I mean, is there a world where Audemars turns his hand into a bluff here? He's got the 10s. So definitely, when I think about it, I don't think he's thinking about calling. I'll say that. At the same time, it's a big bet. This is a wild spot. You don't like Adamo calling with the pair and flush draw on the turn for 220 to win 930. I mean,
I apologize. I didn't see the backdoor flush draw come in. So yeah, now I don't mind the call.
Yeah,
I thought he just pure had an 8 there, but he had the flush draw.
I mean, he was maybe thinking of jamming, but then realized fold deck doesn't make a ton of sense. And if his 2 pair outs are good, which they were, and he's got the flush draw, which was good.
Yeah,
he's definitely getting a great price to peel. And I think that all in all, I'm curious. The Yuri's value bet there and the 2 players, I think that's it's interesting. It's not crazy, but I don't think it's a mandatory bet. Nice hand. And again, Yuri just so good recognizing where he's at, what's going on, and just seems to make the right play just so often, and really, really fun to watch as he does gain the actual chip lead, 3.8 million. Esplin with 3 million on his left. Tweet is out. I did put it up in the chat. Pin tweet, Jeff Gross Poker. Mike, hope you retweet. Get it out. Your chance at 50. I'll double down if you win it. Make sure you get there, get the socials out. Appreciate everybody. We are going to have a fun final table. We lost someone on the first hand, ace, king of jacks, classic, out the door, and we are going to run through and play to a winner. And Adamo, very nice timing against Ole, 2 of the more experienced veteran players, and the math starts getting close. Ace 10 off, you start talking about king queens, Adamo shoving broadways, talk about pairs and flipping. You can afford it. The math, there's extra money in there. This is not one Ole loves, but he's going to consider strongly.
I mean, I think in ICM EV, well, I guess the way the stacks line up, he can afford this call to a certain extent, but generally it's like ace 10 suited, ace jack off type of deal here. But against Adamo, and they have history, I mean, Adamo could be shoving like ace deuce suited here. I don't even know, so jack 10 suited even. So maybe Ole is like really considering calling. Yeah, by the way, Yuri, I'm rooting for you, buddy. Even though Jeff's got you, I like your side of the bet right now, like big time. But I'm just totally happy to just be here and to be able to watch these guys battle it out, because this is really like, I think it's just so cool that we get to do this. Not just you and I, but everybody. Like, we get to watch this face up, like cards up. There's so much to learn and pick up from like these top tier players. Like the fact that he even tanks there and then folds, like we can take a lot from that. And it was the right fold.
Yeah, made a very close spot. Just again, right decision, happens to get out of the way, and it's just such a, don't want to say a mistake, but when he does have the broadways that he's beating are dominated 10, king 10 suited or jack 10 suited, it's a huge advantage for Adamo to pick that up. But again, he's just dominating him, and he makes the right fold, keeps his 2.1 million, and moves on to the next hand, as we are again playing a 10K buy-in from Sunday. On Tuesday, we play to a winner. There is no deal making. It is just the payouts you see the lower left of the screen. And again, hope everyone knows there's satellites. I've seen some unknowns here. People have spun it up, $500 1Ks, satellites. They get in, take a shot, play with the best in the world. And hey, any given day, anyone can win and get to play with some of your heroes of the game. It is a treat to do the commentary, and appreciate you guys being here. So thank you very much. And giveaways available for you guys.
At some point, I'll have to go grab my phone so I can. Oh, I might be able to retweet. Actually, I have Twitter on that. Sorry about that sound. Let me get that out for you.
This is a king's board that doesn't go amazing. It is against a big blind range, though, so he does come with the bet at the end here as a quick fold. 5 deuce suited had a lot going on there, a lot of board. Decided to just play it small, didn't get out of line, and just got away on the river. As we see Adamar again, multi-time GGMillion winner. Adamo has won 8, I think the record, if not tied for the record. Pretty impressive stuff. Has his work cut out for him today. Yuri also is taking down a GGMillion Adamar multiple. Ole has won the GGMillions from season 1. He also won in season 2 with 8 final tables, and he's won twice already this season. 4-time winner. Adamo has won 3 in season 1, 2 in season 2, and current season 3. I think that did get. It's 8. That's 8 titles. I mean, to win it is so tough. I think Artur might have. He has 7 for sure, and maybe 8. And Nicholas Osted has 6+. And I can't confirm the amount, but again, you're starting getting in unicorn land at the 6+ times winning this tournament against this field, this pedigree. We saw Mark Radoja last week take it down, his first title at so many final tables. It's so hard to actually win. You have to run well, you got to play well, stars have to align, and that was a fun one to watch last week. B. Paris was on for that. Brian Paris on the call, and he is trying to use the booth magic over at an EPT, playing live over
there. Just as far as the action goes, last hand Adamo opened jack 10 off, which is like fairly wide open from that spot, or low frequency open, or not at all for a lot of people. But you can see that he's going for it. And now another close spot, I think, is Yuri betting or checking this board. I think he c-bet this board expecting to get called by a lot of draws and like worse jacks, 9s. Also, Queen X isn't going to raise very often. So he doesn't get, I don't think he gets check raised on this board too frequently, especially not being a flush draw on the flop. So he feels pretty confident double barreling actually here. This is a pretty sick double barrel. And I imagine it's going to go check, check, unless Ole's going to find a lead. That was just like, Yuri hasn't made a mistake yet. Also in the aces hand, as far as betting the river goes, I think when you check the flop, not that you're making up for missed value, but your hand is kind of misrepresented. And I think there's a lot of value in like confusing the other players and
Yeah.
mixing checks in with the top of your range. So I think like
Right.
it's a mandatory bet. And if he gets raised, like he can navigate those spots better than I can since he's such a crusher. But
Yeah. Yeah. Also true. And the queen comes on the river. There's draws that miss to maybe pair the queen, that make top pair. And here we go. Jacks, king, queen. Pretty straightforward. Button versus the big blind. Another flip, another big moment. The ace, 9, 6. Clean for jacks to the turn. Has to fade 6 outs one time, or we will have another knockout. Sven, can he do it? He cannot. That's 1.2 million
GG's
chip
Sven.
pot. Good game. 7 left. Audemars going to pick it up and be over 3 million, joining Espelin, Yuri as well there, as we are down to 7. Moving quick, and we are going to get, again, giveaways for you guys. The tweet is up, Jeff Gross Poker, pin tweet, $50 cash, or the last longer. You're going to have to type in the chat a keyword, as well as hit the thumbs up. That is only if you're enjoying the stream. We appreciate you guys being here. We're having fun. And Nutty Wolves, man, he was giving Wolverine some love, said hello. He is one of the unknowns. We see real names for a lot of players. This guy, don't know if you maybe message me on Twitter, say hi, give me a heads up who you are if we play together. But as it stands, he's repping Canada. Nutty Wolves is his name, and he is in there with top 2 pair versus a very action turn Yuri with the queen 9 suited. See if he wants to apply pressure versus the big blind range, which
Again,
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but these are the spots where like this is very interesting to me because this is the big blinds board, but Yuri has a flush draw and a straight draw and an overcard. So like I think we could learn a lot from these spots from both of these guys because they're both very good. So
How familiar are you with Nutty Wolves?
He is one of very few people that I went up to at the World Series, and I saw a final table that he played, and I thought that he played so unbelievably well. It's one of the few streams during the World Series last year. It wasn't a World Series event though.
Okay.
And I watched the whole thing and I was like, man, this guy is so good. Like he's finding
and just great discipline to check the 2 pair to get the bluffs. Queen 9 suited also has the 9, but then you start talking about, this is what separates the great from the good. I think it's okay. I have a blocker. Okay, I missed a draw, but what am I repping? What am I targeting? I have the missed clubs, so I have more missed draws, and he just ultimately decides I'm not going to fire off and rip it in here and put the pressure on. Even though, again, ICM wise, Nutty Wolves with that stack, there's a Damo short, there's Ole not super short. I think he just decided that, hey, this was not a good spot. And again, just to know when to bluff, when not to bluff. Why? What does your opponent have? What are you repping? What are you blocking, unblocking? These are all considerations that, again, the Yuri and these guys, the thing that's so impressive with Yuri and these players, they're playing like 12 tables, 16 tables, making these decisions to bet, overbet, check, pot, where they're at. They understand their opponent's range, their range, and it really is a treat. And again, they're dangerous. They're playing so many tables at once. This is a Tuesday for big money, probably only playing the 1 table, maybe play a Tuesday schedule, fire up a few more, but definitely attention here. Big money up for grabs as, again, Nutty Wolf's going to enter into the pot. Has the best hand multi-way here, a little trickier to play for that size. Got to peel 1. I would, of course, 63 into 270, hoping to get heads up and slow down. That's a pretty good card. No spade, no over to the 10. He's sitting sort of in moderate land. AD picks up extra equity, has queen high. Against the small blind range, going to favor suited hands and mid pairs. That's sort of just a general likely hand candidate. So do you want to target that with the second barrel? You also unblock hearts and spades, some sort of Broadway hands. Definitely a big bet now. He picks up the semi bluff, a really good candidate to fire. And, Nutty Wolves, kind of one of those spots where it's really tricky. You might realize what's going on here. You might say, hey, they definitely could have some big cards or some sort of over flush draws or this type of hand, a jack queen suited. But do you call and then guess river? You could also get there. You're in kind of no man's land and very tricky spot for Nutty Wolves here.
Yeah, this is a really nice candidate for semi bluff. He unblocks hearts and spades. He's basically at the bottom of his range.
Yep.
Like he's literally, that's the worst hand that he can have there unless he opens there's no other hand. Every other hand has a pair or is better than queen high. And Nutty Wolves can have flush draws. He can have a 10. He can have pocket pairs that peeled once. And it would be interesting to see if he pulls the trigger on a third barrel there.
I think he was. I think on a lot of runouts, obviously there's cards that are bad, or maybe he just hits his pair or something and improves. But there are, I think, a lot of cards, non-heart, non-spade, kind of low bricks, that he's gonna unload the clip there on that particular run out. But again, AD, someone that has a ton of experience. I'm gonna have to verify on his. I don't think he's won. I think he has many final tables. He's got 7 final tables so far this season. No wins. So he would be one of the players to get a first win. We also got Sven, who got knocked out, did not have a win. There is Nutty Wolves, who is in this GG Millions. He has only 3 appearances so far, so making a cash and final table here. Does not have a title, as well as I think Yuri has 1 win. And it just shows you how hard it is. He has 6 final tables in season 2 and 3, so that's 12, and then 19 final tables with 1 win. And we're talking about one of the best in the game, if not one of the top no limit players. He's played 19 final tables and has 1 win in this format. So again, someone that has so much impressive resumes, but hasn't had a lot of titles here. Let's see if he can add to his tally. And we have got a Audemars versus Adamo.
Yeah. You want to know the action here?
Yeah, there was a bet flat or 3-bet. Bet and 3-bet.
Audemars opened min, and Adamo went 2.4x, I believe, or like just under 2.5x as a 3-bet here. Like, what? I mean, this is so savage to have this hand in your like 3-bet fold range and to actually pull the trigger in this spot. I mean, it really shows that like he's attacking these ranges, and Audemars is well aware of that fact and just goes for the peel, not just because of the price, but also who he's up against. I think he's going to look him up here. He's going to look him up. Like,
it looks so strong from Adamo pre, but again, Audemars definitely knows how this can play out. He also has backdoor spades, backdoor straights, 2 pair outs. He's going to call. He's in a world of ahead. He is just in a whole different stratosphere of a spot, and now needs to fade. There are some cards. You can see the outs there. Ace-6. It's not. It is a GG for Adamo. Everyone, golfer claps there, seeing it. Well, I guess you're golfer clapping, and people are happy to see Adamo go. 8-time winner, go out, pay jumps all around, and we're down to 6 pretty quickly today. Audemars Richer tied almost with AD for the chip lead. No one super short right now, as we are 6-handed, and again, seeing some world-class stuff. That was that was a very higher variance play from Adamo, and just kind of, he was actually ahead, right? Ahead pre-flop, pretty even matchup. Going to get a lot of folds when Audemars misses after the flop, and he did not get that. He got pair, middle pair, bottom pair, and couldn't improve. And that'll be it for Adamo.
Yeah, it was a kind of like an equity take / equity denial shove by him. Like if a lot of the flats from Audemars are like middling hands, like 9-10, Jack-10, Queen-Jack, and he just wants to take. He already built the pot with like a bluffy type hand. So I think he was just trying to win the pot where it was at and shut down any equity that his opponent has. And, also, what does that say?
I was just joking. Dang, I think he made an Adamo comment early, referencing maybe seeing
that he's the GOAT.
I'm not sure. I couldn't really, it's hard to read the font when they type with the table up as it is. But yeah, again, I think everyone's welcome to see Adamo go. Look at, speaking of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, ace deuce right there. AD with the best hand. We saw some crazy run out, crazy play on a boat. 3 and 2. This is a little different situation. 5-6 actually makes the straight now. So again, if any pair would be a boat, of course, for AD, but 5-6 does hit a pretty big card here, does make the straight, and he's going to bet a little something.
Yeah, the level of play from here on out is going to be wild because everybody is really good. I mean, I'm not sure. I know I've seen Espel in here. I think he's been at least one of the FTs that I've done with you, if not both. But then I recall him playing some hands kind of in a weird way that made me question, like,
I think it's a different, actually he has 5 cashes. This is actually his first final table, Espelin, so it might be a different name you're seeing.
Oh, okay.
He's from Russia, and he has not had many many appearances. He actually has 17 appearances, 5 cashes, but first final table. So yeah, wish him luck. See if he can win a GGMillion title. Again, multiple have done so here. There's Adamar, Ole, and Yuri have won, and then Nutty Wolves, AD, and Esplin looking for their first one. Look at showing some moxie suited
Some
ace. Not
chutzpah.
a yeah, not a mandatory three bet spot, but definitely a suited ace cutoff button. One you would like to see. He does make it, showing he's not afraid going at Yuri. And Yuri had a nice playable hand. Definitely one he could. There's some worlds where he does peel there, although it is 7-6 out of position, suited, and I think Yuri's pretty happy how the table's going right now. He's got a good stack. Doesn't need to get too crazy. Just kind of playing his game. And Adamar going to go for a raise, 4-5 off, put pressure on Nutty, showing he didn't have much. Can't just run me over, but 8 deuce going to fold off suit.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Really, like, because there's just so many of these guys are so good. I think we're gonna walk away with some good lessons. Like even seeing him find the ace deuce and then Yuri not peeling with the 6-7, I think that's like notable. Yuri didn't.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, ace 3 off. I think this is something we're seeing more of. 3-bet or fold these type of rag hands. It is 6-handed, so it's under the gun 6 max, right? This isn't 9-handed. It is, but this is definitely. I can't imagine this working. Although Yuri understands the situation. There's a lot of times where he's against jacks, queens, kings or ace king even. So this is one where he happens to have, and this is fun because this is like one of those things. Oh yeah, 3-bet air kind of bluffing. Now you hit your hand and you're kind of you're in no man's land. You're post flop, 800K in the middle, huge implications. You make your hand, but you are severely in trouble, and you recognize that. You're either against mid pairs, suited broadways that may not even peel. King queen suited. What do you think Yuri does pre-flop? But as it stands, he bets, and now we are going to a turn, and he is in a tremendous amount of hurt. He needs a 3 that is a non-diamond, and he's got 1.1. The stack to pot ratio, SPR, getting close to 1, and Yuri now has him teed up for a nice pot here. He has to fade, 2 outs with 1 to come, and he has got control of the hand all of a sudden.
Yeah, the ace queen suited is an interesting hand to have in this spot because like the big blind is really polarized and either has a hand like this or a hand that's crushing Yuri. Basically, he's repping all or nothing type hand. Especially,
does he know he has ace 3? Look at him. He's got the 3 out there, 333,000. He's like just saying, come get your 3. You're not going to get the 3. The 4 comes. Ace queen, is it a river value bet at this point? Does he think he plays ace king like this? Probably not. On the 5, 8, 9 with the peel, ace king's probably gonna be going for value. I think Yuri's gonna. He should be attacking here. No, like it's a big 3-bet pre-flop. Ace king's not gonna bet check. I doubt it. I really do. I think Yuri's gonna go for the enchilada here.
Yeah, I think the stack to pot ratio is low enough where, I mean.
Wow, he checks. He thinks he has traps there. I guess he thinks he has ace king sometimes because it's kind of I guess actually, he could be thinking too that he has ace X and maybe he's got the ace 4, ace 5, right? Like something like that. Would he check those though on the river? That's the question. That to me, I'd love to ask Yuri about that. Yuri, you're listening. I just gave you a good luck on a message you earlier you replied. I'd be curious to know that specific hand, the check back river, what you specifically put him on, because I think maybe that might be part of it, that he thought he could have some ace 4, ace 5, and I just think that he's gonna bet more there than check his traps. But I guess he would maybe if he thinks that Yuri's got some floats and picked up draws and miss, he could bluff it in there. So very, very interesting hand. As it stands though, Yuri is going to win a nice pot there, 4.5 million.
Yeah, there's also like implications of what it does to the stack sizes, like because it effectively is going for thin value if he decides to bet there, and maybe like preserving these chips and keeping what he has is like worth more to him than going for thin value in this spot. And then also like, does he get called by worse? Is another important question. It's probably the most important question. Does he get called by worse? And the fact that he flatted pre and then got 2 streets of value, I think that was enough for him. I think 3 streets in a 3-bet pot there is a little bit thin. but I can see like it would make sense to me if he shoved, but I just think he's just going to do the right thing. So whatever he did there um, was probably the proper range assessment and risk reward assessment.
Yeah. No, I just, again, the one thing about commentating, viewing, you always have the bias. It's like you
Yeah, of
got in
course.
game. It's like, oh yeah, you got ace queen and like he did this and you got to bet. But, also at the same token, he had the aces, and in my mind, I'm like, that looks like a scary board. I don't know if I'm probably not betting. I'm not doing that. Whereas like there, I think I would bet, but maybe, again, cards down, huge spot. You win the pot. You're in super control 6-handed. What do you get called by? That's also always a consideration. It starts getting close to maybe too thin value. Are you even going to get called and makes a check back? But again, just a guy I respect so much. And if you start talking about live earnings too, Yuri, if you guys look him up
Boss.
online, I got it's just crazy. He's got so much live earnings and only in playing the biggest stakes, and he's #1 Brazil all-time money list, which says a lot. I mean, there's some amazing Brazilian players. Oli Shemian as well, who has a 20+ million Hendon mob and sits on a very impressive resumes, won all kinds of stuff, awards, accolades. Always build up Ole because I do have a lot of respect for him. He's just kind of one of those guys that's been doing it live and online for a long time, gets the game, understands where he's at, what he's doing, who he's playing with, and knows how to extract value here. As he's got the queen deuce off, just going to give it up. 6-handed, got there relatively quickly.
It is worth noting in that ace-3 hand that there's a couple of things going on here. One is that Yuri probably has the widest opening range outside of Audemars if it folds to Audemars. But Yuri's going to have, as the chip leader, one of the widest opening ranges. So AD is attacking his wide opening range, and he's using a hand that blocks the top of Yuri's range. So I mean, it's a nice 3-bet and a nice range to attack in that spot. It just so happens that Yuri had a huge hand. Also, AD, if I remember correctly, has plays like pretty solid. Doesn't get too out of line. I mean, obviously he's capable, otherwise he wouldn't be here. But if I remember correctly, like he's very patient. He looks for good spots. He doesn't. I don't know that he does the Adamo 3-bet with the ace-6 and get it in on the flop. But yeah, I mean he's the kind of guy that's going to ladder a bunch of spots. He might not. I don't think he will get first as much as someone like Yuri or Ole. But he'll be at this final table and he'll make a bunch of pay jumps pretty frequently, and that counts for a lot in these big spots. So what was the action here? Was it limp check? I imagine it was. And then a bet on the flop and a call.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part about this river, of course, the chop now, because ace high, ace 10 10 9 9. So Audemars thinking I lose to a 10, I lose to a 9, and I actually he loses to an ace as well. You don't beat much here, and you're chopping at best. It starts getting not so attractive. And again, a great bet goes. It looks strong, obviously strong, and against ranges here, he's just attacking, man. Ole just attacking, has people in negative free roll situations. Call to chop, overpay here, and the price isn't very attractive to chop.
No. These spots, I find that a lot of top tier players, in my experience, at least I've noticed this over the last probably few years. I don't know why it just jumped on my radar, but like in spots where they're chopping, they're winning the pot way more than other people. Whether that's an ace with no kicker against a big blind that has an ace with no kicker, like they're getting them to fold because they're not capped, or a 4-liner where they're just, or a 5-liner where like there's just the straight out there, and
Yeah.
they're like, I have the 7x range advantage, so I'm all in, and they'll just go 4x pot and get the fold, and it counts for a lot in tournaments, especially at the end of the tournament, to be able to pull the trigger. I imagine Nutty Wolves will find shoves here a decent amount. This is like a pretty nice hand for it, pretty nice spot for it, considering it's Audemars in the small. Pretty easy for him to leverage the stacks here. In some worlds, I guess he could defend here, but he's not folding. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, he makes it 270. Like this is sick. This is so sick. I feel like we've gone full circle in tournaments where we're back in like 2010 where people are just clicking it back and forth against each other. Like it's just amazing. It's
And
cool to see the trends full circle again.
it has changed. The game has definitely changed, and guys and girls are dialed in. People are really playing at a high level, and this type of stuff helps to be able to see the whole cards from some of the world's best. They're really getting to show us how they maneuver at a final table. Of course, it's different. You got to get here. Not easy in a completely different facets and parts of the game at the beginning stages, the middle, the bubbles, and but yeah, once you arrive, you can definitely take a lot from these type of situations and really start to learn about ICM, what it is. I mean, Matisow was on for the special edition where it was a huge one. He was saying he didn't even look at or know what ICM was as of a couple of years ago, or recently, even like a year ago. I find that hard to believe. But again, people, I don't know, not everyone respects ICM or really thinks about it, as we see top pair versus the flop goods, queen jack off. Although Yuri gonna know, I mean, it's big blind versus under the gun. So, big blind's going to have a wide range. At the same time, he's not going to go crazy here with the one pair weak kicker hand on this type of board. So AD probably going to want to, my instinct would say check raise, but I guess that you just call, although the problem is, what are you check raising, right? Are you check raising a flush draw against the under the gun raise with this board? Probably not. So I think that's why you just call. At the same time, and this type of thing, this type of dream scenario where opponent turns to pair and now he's going to get a big bet. And this starts getting like a lot going on. There's two flush draws. There's some chop situations if you're against a set or two pair that's going to be really curious about playing. So now I'm curious if he can, do you close your eyes, call and check, or you just rip it here and just hope to get cooler someone or force a call? Calls. Wow. Scary
Yeah,
card.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, talk me through the spy. I guess it's just going to check now. I mean, what can Yuri really do here? He does block. He's got two pair, but I mean, flushes get there. There's the. He just doesn't even think about it. He just seems to know like that the gig was up there and he was beat. What do you think on that river from AD
Uh,
and the turn? I'm curious what you like on the turn and river as played.
the river is, yeah, the fact that it pairs kind of makes it hard.
And the
For
flush
him
got
to,
there.
yeah, for him to well, he has the queen, of clubs. Yuri doesn't have that many flushes. The ace and the king, the ace, king, and queen
Yeah,
of clubs are out
for
there.
sure. Yep.
The question really is like, I like his check call on the flop. I think you're forced to check call that hand because you have so much trash in one pair and like pair plus straight draws in your range that like, and it's not your board. It's Yuri's board. So like, I don't think this will end up being too big of a pot, but we'll find out what Yuri wants to do. Uh, the question becomes on the turn, is it going to go check enough to where you want to just put the money in on the turn? It's rough. It's a rough spot. It's hard to get stacks in that situation. And the hand that I played in the WPT, the 10K in December.
Yeah.
And I had a hand against Ansgar 2000. I don't know if you remember him online. He just won a circuit event. I had a hand like this where he had ace 10 and I decided the way the stacks lined up. I think it wasn't a 3-bet pot. We were just kind of shallow to start the hand and I check jammed on the turn because I was like, there's too many rivers where it goes check. So I just have to put the money in here. In AD's spot, he decided to call and then check the river. But yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I probably would end up calling a lot too, but since there's two flush draws, I think playing that board a little more aggressively is good in general. But
yeah, I mean, it turned out Yuri hit the gin card, like made two pair to actually improve. There's also just like the question is, what is he doing with a set? What is he doing with pair, top flush draw, pair flush draw, or gut shot pair flush draw? Like what happens if he raises there? So I'm again, another spot. Super curious about what the different ways to play are. I would have varying degrees. There's also again where it bricks the river. and your opponent does, you know, rips it or just value bets, right? Like Yuri may value bet that ace five on a brick on a four diamonds on the river
Absolutely. Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. So that's, you know, the runouts are obviously there's a variety of runouts and in different situations, and also ICM. We always talk about it. It's Yuri could put some pressure for sure, and he actually had a very strong hand on the turn.
Yeah, in spots like that too, you have to question if AD decides to check jam, does he actually have the bluffs that Yuri's beating? Like, does he have the pair plus straight draw and flush draw type hands, or does he just check call them? Because if they go into his check calls, then his check shoves are just nutted, and ace five is dead, you know, to like 4 cards. It looks like Yuri bet, Ole called, and then they just
Yep.
checked it down after that.
Yeah, interesting there too. Ole realizing king four there, just with Yuri being the chip leader on the button, these stack sizes, he just realizes how wide Yuri is there. So he's floating with king high, seeing what's going on, seeing if Yuri kind of slows down or he improves, and just thought he might have the best hand. So again, Yuri did have a pair, but it was you know, I think you can tell Ole's aware of Yuri. He knows kind of how he plays. He's aggressive. He's happy to kind of peel, get in there post flop, knows that Yuri's not necessarily wants to play pots with him, but knows that he's going to be lighter and putting pressure with some modest hands. I think that's more of the narrative there, as Adamar picks up a pair along with his nut flush draw, king nine, double gutted. Both players have some equity here, and ace 10 with the pair, nut kicker and flush draw. Adamar thinking what to do. He wants to bet or check. Check seems logical.
Yeah.
King nine check back, pretty sweet run out for ace 10 suited. You missed the nut flush, which is an obvious draw, and you now make the tens full on a running 10. I would imagine as played, you go big bet, hope to get a jack. You missed the flush draw. I think this is going to be over bet like 320, 360, something like that. Like go big here. Hope your opponent could hero you or just, you know, call you with the jack, right? Maybe gets a little worried about a jack. Maybe has an over, somehow plays it coy with queens or something. I think he's going to go big. Maybe even really big.
These spots are interesting to me because a lot of times, like, the in position player is capped here. So do you target the top of his range, or do you go like, do you target the wide range of like random hands that he has at check back?
Well, I think it's just, I think you having the missed clubs is so nice, right? And then you happen to make this run out. It's very special. It's hard to miss the nut flush draw and make a running top full house.
Yeah.
So like you just get to, again, go, I think, yeah, it makes sense. I don't think the player's going to bet as played most likely. And you go, might as well go big there, try to get heroed, or maybe someone that under, you know, slow played a little bit of a bigger hand. But Ottomer also, we've seen attack in small big blind, small blind, big blind. He keeps raising with these type of modest hands, a little over 3x, and Nutty Lovers really hasn't had much. We did see him play back with the ace 3 off correctly. And at the moment, Ottomar and Yuri are your 1 and 2 stacks. Ole sort of down there tied with AD, Nutty Wolves lurking in 6th, not too far behind. And pretty big hands here, cut off button. Ole, Ottomar, let's see, Ottomar. It's kind of one of those ones where it's not like a super premium to necessarily flat. He actually, so it was open, right? I'm sorry, open from king
Yeah.
suited, and then he flatted. So that, okay, that changes things. And again, Ole on to Yuri. He's like, I got ace jack suited, pretty standard flat there, but understanding Yuri too, we're going to see him opening pretty wide, king deuce suited, and he is going to attack with the king deuce backdoor nut flush, second nut flush draw, ace jack suited. Got appeal.
This is a really interesting. First of all, this is an interesting open by him. I can understand as the chip leader, so I'm not really gonna even question that too much. The 20% C bet is so interesting to me in this spot. He must be planning on double barreling like a ton of turns, or at least some.
And look at Ole with no backdoor flush draw, just decided to release. He folds ace jack suited, and again, Yuri just sort of magically maneuvering, just sort of getting results that are You know, like, of course, the flops and everything matter, but again, just such a plan. Guy, it's one thing to three bet light these hands and do, you know, open light, but then you got to, then it's the flop, then it's the turn. What do you do rivers? What is your opponent's range? How do they perceive you? What is your range? What are you? How wide are you opening? And you know, it's definitely Yuri's world right now. Looking for again his second title. He's had 19 final tables, the #1 all-time Brazilian moneyless player live, and I would imagine online. I don't know where to even see that these days. Stats. There's so many sites and different places. Of course, GGPoker being the #1 place in the world to play and can win World Series of Poker bracelets online too. Coming WSOP, partner with the WSOP. That'll be fun. Mike, you're gonna play a full schedule in Vegas, full WSOP.
Not full, but I break the trip up into a couple of trips, you know. So I go out for like 2 weeks, come back, like relax for a week, go back for 2 weeks. I try to break it up a little bit and schedule them around the big like high value tournaments. But yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I'll be there for the monster stack. I'll be there for the main event. I'll be there for like, you know, um, hopefully the 1500 six max. That's like my favorite tournament. But yeah, I'll definitely be putting in volume. I'll be driving to multiple casinos in one day, feeling like a degen, just like everybody else.
I love it. I love it. A6 with the full house, a little too much board. Yuri, nothing to contend with. Going to get out of the way. Again, audience, let us know you're watching from. Hope you're enjoying. We got multiple giveaways for you today. Stay tuned for that at the end. Hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying. That'll be part of one of the giveaways. And we are playing to a winner. And we have got ourselves a sort of something's got to give setup here with I'd say Oli and Yuri, the most experienced Ottomar, three-time winner again, knows how to play. Nutty Wolves, you gave, I don't know who it is personally, but he is someone you say a lot of respect for and trying to get going. He really hasn't gotten much playability. He's been doing a good job already get to sixth, avoid much confrontation, and hopefully be able to get involved as Yuri picks up a very powerful hand. And Ole, you know, he's been opening relentlessly this button, going to just flat, ace-6 off, kings, in a very good position on the 9-4-4, such a dry board. And Yuri definitely going to attack.
I message you on Discord.
Yeah, I see. I'm with it, and we've got a 10 turn. Yoli, of course, a little sticky. He's got ace high, beating a ton of hands. We saw king deuce opening suited under the gun. Imagine Yuri's button opening range, super wide. 9-4-4, ace-6 off looks pretty good. 10. Again, it's just kind of a random card, and he's going to put pressure on. And does Oli have? It does, can't. It's just what are you going to do? He's first of all, he's got the worst hand. But even if you know, if that's King Jack there, if that's King 9, how can Ole call there and then know the river he's guessing or dead? So he does fold in another good hand. Sevens opens. So we will probably see Audemars with 4 million. I mean, they're deep, but does he want to start peeling? He does. They're deep enough, right? That's just to peel there, closing the action. King 8 off. Again, opening so wide, can call and just be cautious post flop. You say that, and then it comes, you know, king high, and you start getting barreled on, and or 8 high, and you're in a tough spot. But that's poker. You can't just wait for the goods. You got to get in there. You got to battle. You got to complete. You got to three bet. You got to play a bit, or else you're not just going to make the final table here. That's for sure.
Yeah, blinds and antes are always going up, so ranges need to stay wide. You can't just only play the nuts like cash games. Got to figure out how to navigate pots with marginal hands on shallow stack sizes. A walk. Is that the first walk we've seen? Might be.
It could be out of all of them. I think there's been a lot of attacking from Audemars when folded. There's not been a lot of blind on blind, and that's again one of the widest range spots and a good spot to study and brush up on if you are in tournament poker. It happens frequently, and I think a lot of players again make a mistake. I've been there myself in the past where getting short, oh well, you know, you bust ace queen to ace jack and you got unlucky, but all these blind on blinds, all these spots that you're just folding, or you could be raising pre-flop instead of folding, or you could be limping, you know, limp raising. There's a lot of creativity in this small blind big blind, so definitely a spot to look at and study and work on. And Mike, what about you? What are you doing WSOP prep wise? How are you getting in the tournament mindset other than doing GGMillion commentary here? What else you got going?
Yeah. This is actually an interesting spot. Yuri has a 2 overs with a flush draw and a straight draw. I guess his overs don't matter. Well, they matter a little bit. Yeah, he's choosing the aggressive action, which is probably, this is a nice hand to do it with too. Ranges are very wide in this spot. It's very tough for AD to continue here. Yeah, for WSOP, I just finished like a pretty hard grind during the Venom, bagged a bunch of chips, and then got coolered and didn't cash. But ended up I made a run in the 1K after that and whatever. So it was a decent session, but I had just put in a lot of volume. So for me, the next month is like very little playing. Was this a small raise pre?
Big raise. He went 210 from 60. So again, just so balanced. Even with aces, he's going, bigger sizing. And now king 6 off calls. Little surprised by the call pre, I guess deep enough. And he knows Yuri's going to have the air ball stuff too. So he just wants to see a flop. But, his play just whiffs, gets out of the way and shows he's not afraid to play. 6 players remain 91K locked up. Next place will be 6-figure plus. Page, I'm starting to get big. And yeah, so tell me your prep is, what is like it look like for you though? Are you doing some solver work? Are you doing peer group stuff? How do you study and improve your game?
I have a couple of guys that I study with. We go over marked hands. We go through some GTO wizard stuff. We quiz ourselves. We go over spots that we all feel like we have problems navigating. This is definitely at least a 3-bet. I wonder if he induces this hand or if he just shoves from the big here with jacks.
Yeah, I think it's good enough to induce 6-handed cutoff. I think he does raise. And actually, interestingly enough, Espelin, who's been fairly aggressive, did take the ace-2 suited button versus cutoff open. He took a 3-bet here. He passes ace-5 suited, one of the more popular 3-bet light spots. And this is going to be a 4-bet all-in jam, 2.7, big implications for the table right now. Ole in the lead. Jacks fades a flop. Deuce 10, clean as it gets. Deuce on the turn. That's the full house. Still 6 outs though. 1 to come. Ace king to jacks. Can he fade it? One time he's asking.
7 outs.
It's not going to be. Oh, you're right. You are right. 7 outs. Yeah. The sneaky running deuce, which it is not going to be. That's a 3 across. We are seeing a big hit, not a knockout, but AD on life support. Ole Shemian, welcome back to the chip health. He has got 2.8 million. He is in third, and we have got a ball game with the 3 heavyweights, 1, 2, and 3 right now. Espelin, a little unknown. Nutty Wolves, very talented, a little shorter, and AD, who has had so many final tables, going to have a lot of work cut out to get to his title today. But again, at least 6th place, 91K going in the bank for him minimum, as he is going to try to recover from that flip. Big moment. That's a crazy thing about tournaments. You can get there. You get so often. We see 19 final tables for Yuri. Probably lost a lot of flips. Lost a lot of spots. Got probably some seconds, thirds. It's great, but to actually win so hard, and here today he is in position with 5 million to do it. 6-handed, soon to be possibly 5, and may step out, but again, just somehow knows he's been so aggressive and so probing, and now on the ace-deuce where he doesn't even take a shot with the queen-6 for a small bet. Very, very interesting.
So he's playing against a small blind range here, not a big blind range. So it's like the composition of his range is going to be a bit different, a bit stronger. He is going to have like a bunch of suited aces and some offsuit ace-x as well, and then he's going to have pairs. Yuri just doesn't think, I don't think Yuri thinks the c-bet is going to work too often, and this is a hand that he's not going to double barrel very often. Doesn't have much equity, so he's just like shut it down. Good discipline by him, and this could be interesting.
Interesting, because Espelin, who's been super aggressive, also in the ICM situation though, not like thrilled to start playing a huge pot with AD short, Nutty Wolf short. He has ace king. Yuri with jacks, I'm curious too, deep and feeling that he has a post flop maneuverability. He may have seen the ace-2 suited 3-bet now though. I guess, does he just flat decide, or does he want to play a big pot? He is covering, and he does elect to just flat, which is potentially going to work out tremendously well for him because of the ace 5-8. If he had re-raised and they play a huge pot, and I guess that's the thought. Like, he doesn't think he's getting popped by 10s probably, and he's got some light bets. And look at this, Yuri just avoids conflict with a jacks situation there, and Again, just seems just very, very, very tastefully dodges any adversity there with 4.6
Yeah.
million, still the chip lead.
Well, I guess there's some king queen offs that might 3-bet against Yuri, but he apparently doesn't think that tens is 3-betting him, so he's just check folding the flop because there's just no hands on an A-side board that he's really beating
and
anymore.
we're going to see king deuce suited to eights. Deuce pairs needs a king or a deuce, or we will see a double up for AD. One to come, could be right back in it, and it is a paint jack, but that is a double. And AD, welcome back. Him and Nutty Wolves all of a sudden jockeying for the shortest stack. Nutty Wolves, of course, wants to get that nice pay jump, 6-figure score, but not much separates them now, as Nutty Wolves is unfortunately going to have a probably just on a jam on this open against, again, 6-handed cutoff button, ace jack suited, powerful hand. Audemars going to open a ton of hands here with his stack in position. And actually, this is definitely a cooler. Like you could say, yeah, coolers, kings, queens, that type of thing. Ace, king suited, ace, queen suited, but ace, jack suited, ace, queen suited. This situation, Nutty Wolves is going to be kind of stunned to not have the best hand here, and probably thinks he's going to shove, take it down often, which is the case, or flip. But he is dominated, and Audemars is going to be calling pretty quickly on the. I guess it's a committed 3-bet all in, basically.
Yeah.
3-bet half a stack. Just one time. He's going to need help. Jack clubs, chops, needs something to go right. Green cards out there. There it is. That is a magical flop. Outs, king, 9, or club. That is all he can ask for. He needs a miracle, not a miracle. He needs help on the river, and it's a 7. What a tease, man. Nutty Wolves going to go out. Look at that. Good sportsmanship, golfer clap, kind of the full sweat on that, and get some D-Negs golfer claps. Even Mike giving him the cheers there. And AD
GG.
After a GG going to get potentially a double up opportunity with a aces to tens, king 6 suited probably going to open, and the aces now. I mean, it's actually Esplin. Is there a world? I don't know. For 720, it's going to be open, and then AD two. How you don't really want to be calling here and inviting the big blind multi-way. Too cute. He just shoves, and Esplin. I mean, seems like a pretty standard call, though. You got to worry about Audemars behind, and it's a decent amount of chips. I think he's just 5-handed, going to call as we do see it play out that way. Aces to tens, 4-1 favorite, no guarantees. 10 in the window, needs a jack or an 8. Oh, hello! All of the feels on this one. This is a river, needs to get a paired board. He's not. And AD, the spin up, man. We were just saying he's been here so many times. He hasn't got that win. He's all the way down, loses a flip, 300K right back to where he started on a little bit of a joyride. This is 1.5 million chips, guaranteed 116K, 5 left, and right into it with the queen 10 off, feeling confident. He is rolling. He is absolutely doing it. This is back. AD, is this his day? Let's talk about our wager in the audience, where they're at for $50 or $100. So I have Ole, I have AD. I believe you took Esplin. Or I'm sorry, I have Yuri and Ole.
Yeah.
You have. Was that a 3-bet there?
I think you have AD. I believe it was.
And I do have AD. So I think you have Audemars and Esplin, and Ole showing us a little moxie, asserting himself with the modest hand against AD. He said, slow down, AD. I see what you're doing. You're just going for a little steamroll momentum raise. I got the king 8-0. I'm not flatting. I'm not going to fold it. So I'm going to pop it and see where I'm at. And that is now a situation where no one is short. Let's play some poker, 5 left. And so you've got Audemars and Esplin.
Yeah.
So if one of those players win $50 GG ticket, if one of the other players win $100 GG ticket, and a $50 cash giveaway on my Twitter, Jeff Gross Poker pin tweet. So please hit that retweet. Let people know you're watching. Get in on the giveaway. And were you one of those guys? I think I've asked you this before, Mike. Were you a free roll run up or a $50 deposit to the moon, your bankroll where you're at today, or did you do it a different way?
It's a long story for me, but I deposited $50. I'm probably that guy. I'd fall into that.
You're in that time frame. I'm listening. I was saying I was playing in high school.
Yeah.
I was back in the day. It was party poker in the early days, and it was like you could peer the thing, and they had the bonuses and the signups and doing all that. And that was like, I remember being in high school playing, and the moneymaker won the main, and rounders, the whole deal. I was in there like 02, 03, kind of getting into it in high school, playing 25 cent, 50 cent with friends in the basement, and the beautiful game, man. It's just too pure. It's too good of a game. It's great to see the health of poker today, live and online. I'm actually, I was just telling you before the stream, I play a lot of PLO cash. I love tournaments. I was there in Bahamas, played a full schedule. WSOP, GG Bahamas was awesome in December. But in terms of no limit cash, I very rarely play that because I like PLO cash. That's my preference. But today, I am in Vegas. I am playing a Poker Go streamed event with Ninja, Helmuth, who else? I think Nate Hill, ElkY, and it's gonna be
Wow.
50, 100, and it's gonna
Cool.
be a nutcase. The drink is launching, and I'm here helping and I was gonna commentate, and then they're like, if you want to play, I was like, you know what? Let's get in there. It's
Let's
more
click it in.
commentating's fun, but sometimes, I gotta say I feel safer in the tournaments being here than at the table with these guys. But it's fun to pick up some tricks, and this is a good way. There's no limit today. Get a little feel. I mean, it's a different game, tournaments and cash, but I'll be, you know, I'm taking a couple notes. I'm kind of visualizing what going to do there and playing that. I'll be on Poker Go later today. So if you guys are
Yeah.
enjoying this and you're free later, please tune in. It'll be fun.
That's a nice lineup to be playing with too. There's gonna be plenty of action.
Yeah, no guarantees. I like
Yeah.
the spot, but like again, I'll say I'm rusty in PLO or no limit cash game, but it's like a bike, right? What can whatever. I played a lot of hold'em, so
I
we'll
think,
get in there. We'll mix it
yeah,
up.
you'll be able to figure it out. Yeah, and as far as like WSOP prep, doing some, for this next month, doing some yoga. I've had some injuries over the past like year or so. So it slowed me down a lot, but I'm doing physical therapy for my knee. I'm working out with a trainer. I'm getting ready to set up sessions with my mental game coach again. Like I want to go in this year more fresh. And another thing I'm doing differently for this year is I'm taking time off before the main. I'm just skipping. Like you can't play 3 days leading. At least I can't. After 40 years old, um, play all the tournaments leading up to the main, then play the main. Like if you've ever made day 3, day 4 of the main, day 5 of the main, it's absolutely exhausting. And it's like a 10-day tournament and the stakes just get higher and higher. And you really can't make any mistakes. And in order to be like ready to play, you have to be as fresh as possible. At least for me, maybe kids in their 20s can pull it off, but as you get older, it's a much tougher challenge. So I'm keeping that in mind this year and kind of adjusting my schedule around that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's fun. I mean, how much do you play any PLO cash, or you play mostly mostly no limit?
Tournaments, just tournaments. Yeah, that's it.
Zach,
I used to play some cash, but not anymore.
It's a nice spot for. I mean, there's no. Let's see. Ole's got. I mean, he's kind of got a good bluff. Well, okay bluff catcher. Not great though at the club. I think he's weighing out here to pay this off or not. I mean, he's got 2-pair. He's got a 2-pair combo. Got the club. Not great. There's the cat on the stream. We got Ole. Cat's got his tongue. He's got a bit of a decision, a little time bank. Gonna call. I mean, you can't blame him. He gets it right so often. Can't be perfect. And Audemars, nice pot. Pretty spicy turn there. Gonna take the chip lead, actually, 5.5 million.
Yeah, another thing is I've been cold plunging. So yeah, I've been posting some of it on my Instagram. I don't use Instagram too much, but I've been posting some of this stuff. I think it's really helped my knee, and it really helps with like inflammation. It helps with there's so many benefits to it. So I just hop in there and get in the 40 degrees and stay in for 5 or 10 minutes and do it a couple times a week. So that's also been good with energy too. Like you feel energized and rejuvenated for like at least a couple of hours, if not the full day. I know it's kind of like a big thing lately, but
I've gotten into it. I don't do it like regularly, but I do do it, and I do find that it is beneficial. I think it is nice. I mean, honestly, I love like even just a cold shower. It's like that to me is is important. It's just nice to do like and I think there's a misconception too about, because there's a hot and cold, right? You can like take a hot shower, a warm shower, and then like go into the cold. It's actually good. A really good way to do cold plunges, go cold and then right into a hot tub and back, kind of that shock of the body. I think that's like a really good way to do it. But even just at the cold shower after you get into a warm one, it's like it's easier too than to like dive into a cold shower. It's nice to like be in the shower and then flick it to cold. So I think that does help a lot. And there is some studies that show that seems to be that's like the new thing. That's like the health kick right now is the cold plunge. It's definitely wakes you up. I'm actually off coffee. This is something. I'm my wife's coffee family. I'm an investor in a coffee company, and I love coffee. I literally found myself in the last year though going kind of overboard. Like I just like as a just like have it, you know, and like even then you start having lattes or with milk, and it adds up. I'm off for 2 weeks, zero coffee, and I didn't get any headaches or anything so far, knock on wood. And
Awesome.
like I've been just like not doing it, and I think it's been. It's just kind of, I want to reset. You know, I felt like I was doing like some days I didn't even know how many I was having, like 4 or 5, and it's just kind of like just probably too much. So just kind of cutting it, trying it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a huge thing to cut out. I'm curious to hear how.
But I love it. You know, like I just want to get back to like one a day, like before noon. You know, have it, enjoy it, just not just like take it as like just like, you know, just do it just to have it, because I just that's sort of got where I got is this is a very important river. The Jack 10 makes top pair, and you know Yuri. Start talking about bluff catchers, like I'd be impressed to find a fold here. It's like this is just to give him credit for the 10. He doesn't have a heart. I think this is like screaming call, but I'm just shocked when he's just constantly making like perfectly decisions. And this again, like calling just seems like a good candidate here. If you don't see the cards from us, like for us, it's like, yeah, he fold man, but no, like the 10 on the river, he doesn't have a heart. He unblocks hearts. That's the draw. He's got, yeah.
Can't he be value betting like worse 8s here? And like, yeah, I think he just kind of has to look.
Yeah, it's also what blind on blind, super wide range. Just yeah, that would actually be like a shocking fold. Like how wildly that would just be like 2 out of the box.
So I had a conversation with Yuri like a year into COVID, on the phone. While I had him on the phone, this was like when he like had just started to have some success in high rollers. And I was like, dude, what do you attribute to like your recent success? I just asked him like, what are like the key, were there any big changes that you made? And this is what he said. I spent so from like 2015 to like 2020, he spent all that time studying theory and getting really good. And when he moved up, the biggest adjustment he said he made was deviating from theory based on what the leaks in the theoretical game of his opponents. So as he played with and had more history with these players, he got to see like where they were misapplying theory or where they were like had gaps in their game, and he could recognize it and then just adjust. So it's funny how like it's like another full circle type thing where when you first start, you're like, this guy bluffs a lot, so I should call him down, you know? And then like at the end, it's like the bell curve. And then the Jedi is like, this guy bluffs a lot, I should call down, you know? It's just like a full circle thing where he ends up just making adjustments based on what his opponents are doing. But he has a much deeper theoretical understanding than a lot of other people. Yeah, he's not someone you want to have at the table, and he is like his emotional state is. You ever like I see him at the World Series in the mixed games and the no limit games, and it's like he's meditating at all times. Like the kid is, and he's like 4'1", and he's just like his aura is like 6'8". You know, he's such a boss. I love him.
He's one of those guys. Just kind of he's got his stuff together. It just seems like he's really has it figured out, man. It's fun. He's just, yeah, exactly. He's planned. He's not rushing in, booking a last minute flight to Vegas and like winging. He's got already probably the house plan. He's doing cold plunges, meditation there early, knows what he's doing. He has a plan. If he busts, I'm going to this tournament or I'm taking a day off. And I like what you said. This is something that I would give my out of my experience in the World Series, and again, I'm 37, 2 kids, young kids, not playing full schedules and as much poker, but during my sort of like peak World Series, looking back on it, I do wish that I took a little more of a break or was more prepared or focused on the events I really, really want to play. Not just like when I bust, go register something else, or like I late regged a lot, as we see a A6 suited 3-bet and is actually going to get the better hand to fold. But I think that is key, like to kind of map out what your event is. Is it the monster? Is it this? Don't maybe go rush and play like a $300. If your Super Bowl is the 1,500 monster stack or whatever event that, that's your big one, like be ready for that. Don't play an event the day or two before and, oh, if I make it, I'm gonna, then you rush into it. No, like take a day off or two before, be focused, start on time. That's why I think this is just so valuable, that I doing a lot of content. I was doing a lot of YouTube videos and stuff. So and I wish I had done things differently too, where I came late so often, starting at 3, 4 o'clock in the World Series, where like in these events where it's so valuable to be there on time, play deeper stack, people punt, give away chips, the inexperienced players. You got to pay your dues. If you're a poker player and you've put time in and you're more advanced, like you should be, let these people that are coming into the game, learning the game, they're just having fun and going to give it away a bit. You want to capitalize on that. And if you're missing that, you come at 2:30, 3 o'clock from a noon tournament, you're 6 levels in, and there's the people have stacks, you're coming lower, and the kind of free giveaways are gone. That's a big handicap to give up.
Just to zoom into the spot, it was open button, check call. He turned kings up. And I don't mind the bet here. I imagine if Esplin calls, it will go check unless Esplin leads the river. If he raises here, which is totally reasonable given the way I couldn't quite see how the stack to pot ratio. Did he overbet the turn, or I couldn't quite see it? But
I was getting all fired up about having flashbacks to my WSOP grind. King 8 is going to get a big pot there. AD with the King Jack decides to enough hand and actually got dodged value betting himself. We could have been in a lot worse shape. And Esplin, who's been, again, one of the more unknowns and not experienced in this, has done well. He is officially 5-handed playing, I believe, was he chip leader though to start, or second? He was one of the chip leaders. So he's hanging in there. He's hanging there with the crushers, and he's right in the mix, 3 of 5, playing for a lot of money. So again, wishing him a good result. He's got his work cut out. AD and him are the only non-winners remaining. Multiple winners here. Each have won, except I think we said Ole, Ottomar, 3-time winner, Yuri, a 1-time winner of this format. But yeah, anyone has questions about the World Series, if we're out here, please say hello. Mike, I assume you're the same. Say hi out there. I will say, out of all my years in poker content, podcast, doing stuff, I get so many people from the last WSOP would stop, say I love GG Millions or say hi. So please do that. It is rewarding to have people that like it and watch it and hope you get value out of this. It's really is enjoyable to do. And please do say hello. And I think, again, I'll say this, what GG did with registration at the Bahamas was so insane that you can click a button, you can load your account, you can register and draw, scratch your C card, go to the table like that. I mean, it's just for the lines, for the re-entries, for the confusion and the like all that stuff. It's pretty crazy. Like it is really, it makes it so much more enjoyable. I think a lot of people in the past have played World Series and they're like, it's just out of the process and the registration lines, but like that being taken away, I think you're gonna see the numbers are gonna rocket. I think poker's an amazing place. I think this is gonna be like an absolutely epic WSOP. I think there's going to be break records everywhere. And also just you'll see, have you seen that app? Have you seen the new software?
No, I haven't.
It's honestly, it's the best thing I've seen. And since I've been in the World Series, the biggest change in the new venue. It's beautiful. It's a big, like the real I'm looking at it. I literally, I show you guys. I don't know if it'll work with the camera there. Can you see it? Maybe it's, you see it there in the background? You see the Rio over there? And the straight ahead.
Yeah. On the left side.
Yeah. It's, over in like that way, but there's the Rio, so it's out there looking at me. I have a lot of memories from that place, a lot of time spent. But the new Bally's, the Horseshoe, actually tagged as it is this year. Bally's Horseshoe is it's a very big upgrade. So they just kind of figured it out last year too, right? So now it's like fresh, and they've got it organized about where to put what in each room, and I think it's going to be just monumental series.
Yeah, that's exciting. And yeah, to speak to, this should be okay. So Yuri decides to call with the A7 here. I think given the way the stacks line up, this is pretty reasonable. He doesn't want to like build bloat the pot out of position against the other chip leader. I don't think he can continue on this board, but you never know. So as far as the World Series goes, that resonated with me a lot. What got me to where I am is different than what's gonna like get me where I want to go from here, you know? So so he does continue with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and an overcard. He turns a pair. I don't think it's quite enough for him to continue again, but maybe he turns this into a check raise or something crazy. Who knows? Yeah, I think that playing tournaments that you feel good about, like I can say from my personal experience, I've actually like I might have a higher ROI like mathematically in a certain tournament online, and I skip it because I'm not feeling it that day. And I really am excited to play this 109 6 max. I love the 109 6 maxes, you know, I want to play them all day.
Yeah.
Or whatever the tournament is that I feel good about. And I play it. And sure enough, you know, even if I have to re-enter a couple of times, like I build a stack, I end up going deep because like I'm excited, I'm interested. And taking your foot off the gas and like going hard at the things that you're excited about, I think is I think it's important and often overlooked by a lot of people that put in volume and play a lot. So I think you were right for sure. Jack 9 suited on the button here.
Yeah, it's also easier. It's like that saying in the forest and the trees and you're thick. It's sort of like when you step back or looking at, even same as Twitch, looking at, I streamed on Twitch for, I don't know, 5 years, pretty like religiously. And looking back, I would have done it completely differently. I would have just played less tables and not try to be these Yuris or Oles or Mormons that can stream 16 tables and act, you know, like I feel like I'm a good player, but you know, and I'm focused and dialed in, but 2 tables, 3, maybe 4 is like crazy. Should be what I'm doing. I was doing like 8, and then you're like not focused on the chat right enough. And like the Jay Somerville, how he used to do it, Jay Carver, right? He would stream 1 table, whatever the game, break everything down, not miss a comment, and like just make it a nice, you know, I think that's the answer. And I think again, it's like, oh, how am I going to miss the Sunday, the 500 bounty knockout? Like, you know, like I got to do this and that, but you know, it's flashing around the table. Even like could play a couple, maybe just leave it on one, talk about that and something like these type of things, which I knew, but I would consciously just like, I just, you know what I mean? I would, how
Switch
I am,
around.
I try to do everything, and I just like, oh,
Yeah.
and then that's just chaotic. So I like things that I think looking back, it is good. It's sort of better to just focus and do things well that you're doing. But I don't know, man. It's there's so much stimulation these days. There's so much going on. It's kind of hard to like, you know, it's easier to preach than practice it. But I think that is I will say that would be a good, very good advice from you, and you know, sort of my experience too, to tone it down. Is we're gonna see a check 10 is good. Yuri wins. AD and YD. These guys got like kind of crazy, and the initial crazy last names here, hard to pronounce. Almost looks confusing, like similar to starting with the D, the last name.
Zivialeski. I have a hard time pronouncing it too. I call him Yuri Martins. I think that's his like middle name. Yeah, I'm curious. Like, this is generally kind of the bottom of your chip EV calling range in the big with the 10-6. You know, marginal defend. He just chooses to fold it with the 10-6. Well, this makes his decision easier with the Jack 8 suited. So the King 4 opens here. Yuri's going to put in a nice 3-bet here. We can pay attention to sizing here and see, like, does he choose to go like a full 4x or 3.5x or just 3x? What is that? 560? Just under 4x.
Use the restroom 1 sec, Mike. Excuse me.
Gonna see some blind on blind action. All right, he just gives him the walk. That's actually, yeah, I guess the way the stacks line up, you see he didn't even complete from the small blind with the King 3. He just gave him a walk because he knows he's going to get punished a lot. And with Espelin having 2 million and AD having 900K, he doesn't want to put it, he's not even opening himself up to that spot. So here, Audemars jams the 7-5 suited, and AD calls with the ace-king suited. Huge flop. He hits the king on the turn. Oh my goodness. And it's not enough. The 5-7 is going to hold. AD is out in 6th place for 91K, almost 100K. I mean, that guy is at so many final tables. I think he's been at every final table I've done on all 3 shows. I mean, he's just, or at least 2 out of the 3. I mean, he's incredible. So a good showing by him again. I mean, you got a card racket at a certain point, and he just didn't have the hands. So we're 4-handed here. Everyone has at how much? Oh no, so he locked up 116K, my bad, or 117K. So there's four of them left. They're guaranteed almost $150,000 each, and a little bit more than double that for first place at 309,000. So everyone has 150K locked up. That's about 15 buy-ins if they didn't re-enter this tournament. I'm sure some of them re-entered though. So here we are, blind versus blind. Flush draw for the small blind. Ole turns top pair. I imagine there'll be a little bit of action here on the turn. He could go check call or he could bet. Ole's going to likely go for value here. This is kind of that time in the tournament where you really got to make sure that you get value for hands, and hand values really change significantly shorthanded. You can't wait to have like king queen in this spot to go for value. You know, you're going to value bet with some of your like better jacks, and any king is good enough. And interesting enough, the flush draw just folded by Espelin, which is very interesting. Now he opens the button with the ace queen. I could see Audemars going with the 3-bet fold here, or flatting or folding. I think you could see all options here. So he goes with the 3-bet fold, and I believe, okay, good. He rips it in. I feel like I saw Espelin flat in a spot before where I thought he should be shoving, like in pretty shallow stacks. But yeah, I don't know. Apparently this is his first final table, so I must be thinking of somebody else. Ole opens the button here with the king deuce suited. Yuri, interesting enough, because of the stack distribution here and the fact that Ole has 2 million, Yuri defends the 10-6, where in last orbit, he folded the 10-6 against Audemars, opening the button. So, and he wins the pot. So definitely worth noting that he's defending the hand against the same exact hand against Ole and not against Audemars. Jeff, you missed the Audemars shoved BVB against AD with 7-5 suited, got called by ace king, got a very sweaty flop and held with the 7-5 to bust AD.
Wow. And look at this. And three's actually going to jam, but is ahead. Ace king wakes up, is behind. It's a flip, essentially. Clean so far is a turn sweat, needs a queen, king, or ace, or else it will be a knockout, as the river is a 3. Just in case, 3 for 3s. Yuri is going to knock it out 3-handed, pocket 3s, set of 3s. GG to Espelin. Nice score. But now, again, we mentioned these are 3-time winners. These are the guys someone's going to add to their belt of titles. This is 19th final table for Yuri, trying to get his second. Audemars has 3, and I believe Ole has 4. So we are playing for some serious pride and a lot of money today with the big boys in the mix. This will be a fun matchup. Yeah, Ole's short, but still has some chips, can play. And let's just verify that on the total of wins. So again, I'll just run it back for you. Ole Shemian has 1 win in season 1. He's got 2 wins in the current season, and he has 1 in season 2. So was that 4 titles? So he's going for his 5th, Audemars for his 4th, Yuri for his 2nd, and Yuri is in command, 8 million to 6 million. And just again, a play, recognizing the spot, recognizing what's going on. He does shove it in, and then ace king gets kind of caught, right? Gets caught in a spot where he's got to call. For the most part, that'd be one to plug in, though. Kind of interesting with stack sizes, and if he has to call or not. How close is that, Mike? Can you talk about with ICM? I mean, is that a trivial spot, or could he consider, what's he doing with ace queen suited? And
Are you talking about the threes and the ace
Yeah, with
king?
the call. I'm saying the call. What's the range to call there, you think, for the ace king?
I didn't even see the action. Did he just
It,
open shove
it
the
was
small
no, it
blind?
was Ole open to a 100, and then it was a jam. He just jammed it. He jammed on the open. Yuri did.
Uh, I mean, general calling range is probably ace queen off would be marginal, but he probably would flick it in. I think if we looked it up, that you might find there's like ace jack suited in there, maybe, and maybe some ace queen off, but like they're probably not that profitable. That would be my guess. So it would be like ace queen suited would be a big enough jump to where you'd just be calling it off there. Um,
And Ole has a short stack, showing us some light maneuvering. Doesn't work that time. Timing's such an important part of poker, and of course, there's a lot that goes into that. But there, timing just kind of runs into a premium hand. Adamar not going to let the ace queen slide to that re-raise, and Ole down to 1.1. But was got 80K big blind, so he's short, but still playing a bit. Guaranteed 189 for his efforts. Another impressive score. These guys, again, on GG alone, can start talking about the earnings. So Adamar has got 11 million GG earnings. Yuri has 15 million in GG earnings, and Ole 12 million. Interesting enough, they were 2, 3, and 4. Adamar second, Yuri third, Ole fourth at the final table to start. Esplin was chip leader. So the final four did finish top four, just going to be in varying positions, at least not the first place getting first. But now these guys are all doing their part with their chips. They got to the final three. Pretty strong showing again from some of the best to play. Lot to watch, lot to note here. King 7, Ace 7, 2 pair versus 1 pair, and Yuri.
I'm wondering if did this go check on the flop?
Yeah, think I think on the turn though, was it? That's what I'm not sure about. If
Turn went check. I'm wondering if the flop went check because the pot's pretty
no,
small.
no, I wouldn't. He wouldn't check king. He didn't wouldn't check king 7, 8 on the button when it's checked to him. No, he didn't. He didn't check that. I'm sure. I think it was just min rate. Oh, but is it 382? Was it? Is there? Did he? That's curious. Maybe because what? It's 4080. So if you raise to 160, that would be the. Is that say no? What's in the middle though? I'm sorry. Is it 582? Can't see
I
the
think
number
it's
there. It's a little
382.
382. Does that even make sense though? Because 4080 would be 160 plus 320 plus 40. Yeah, I guess it is 60 in the annies. Yeah. Check. That's an interesting spot. Checks back to top and bottom.
And you notice, like, right as they get three-handed, Ole is significantly shorter than both these guys, and the odds of them busting each other or crippling each other is pretty low. Like, they're not too incentivized to be playing massive pots with each other. So
Yep.
Ole immediately went for the 3-bet fold with the king 4, which is probably a hand he's going to take in the like fairly often, at some frequency. But you're going to see like these guys that win lots of tournaments, especially at high stakes. He's ready to go for it, right? Like he only had just chip wise, he has 1 million chips and there's almost 20 million in play. He needs more chips. So he's, going to start trying to chip up as much as he can. But he's a little handcuffed with this stack size. There's not too many options that he has now. But we've seen these guys, they're the best at navigating all stack
Whoa.
sizes. So we'll see what he does.
And as the point just remains, this is a board where there's a huge flop for both players, and we just may not see it get too crazy, right? Because both are like, all right, like Ole's so short. I got not the nuts. I have a great hand, like 7, 8, top pair open ended versus middle set. I mean, this is like about as hard as you can flop boards. So let's see, does Adamar want to start imploding the pot? Probably not. He doesn't. And Yuri again with the set does lose to some straight combinations, 8-4, 8-9, 3-4, but effectively, close to the nuts. So I'd be curious, like how he plays it. I would imagine he still wants to be putting money in. So it just depends how big. He does go relatively big, and Adamar kind of is in the spot where same thing. He's like not going anywhere, but he's not really incentivized to try to like get it all in or make a move here and somehow run into a hand like this. And so he is going to miss. Yuri's got a winner, and what is the bet sizing going to be? That is the question.
So Yuri should have some missed hearts. He has missed straight draws. I imagine he's gonna go pretty big here. It also makes it makes your decision on the river easier when you go bigger. People find less bluffs, but so he goes 1.3 into 1.8. Pretty big sizing. And this is a tough spot for Audemars. Yeah, I think he's just gonna lay it down. But because Yuri does have some bluffs, he can go big there, I think. What were you gonna say,
nice.
Jeff?
Yeah, no, I think it's a nice fold, but it's you're right. I mean, definitely could look him up there. He's going to have some bluffs, and this Yuri interesting goes for the min raise. Doesn't want to jam double up with the absolute trash, and also doesn't want to give walks. So he decides that he would min raise probably with his absolute best hands, and then he's got his worst. And Ole fortunately is going to have a hand that he gets to shove and pick up. Doesn't get a call though, and he will be hovering around that 1 million stack, just over 1.1, 40, 80K blinds. You can see upper left when the blinds go up. We are at level 32, and it tells you in 9 hands, the blinds will go up. And of course, shorthanded, it does start going faster, the amount of hands played. So the blinds do start getting going. A really nice structure on the GGMillion, a lot of play. And then it also does get moving towards the stretch as we see. This is, I'm on the, trying to get acclimated time wise. That's 3 hour difference. So it's what, 1:20, we start 11:40. So it's actually been a pretty quick stream so far. We're down to 3-handed, about an hour and a half in today, and 2 players with a nice starting hand, both gonna pair that 9 on the deuce 5 2 heart board. So again, both players like the turn, but they're just not looking to go crazy.
Yeah, they'll end up chopping this hand most likely, but it would have been interesting if the turn was a brick, because I think we would see Yuri just winning this hand with the same exact hand. But now that they both paired up, they're going to be happy to show down on the river, depending on how much money goes in. But I imagine this will just go to showdown and chop. Wow. So
Same. I was with you. I'm just same thing. I kind of think there's going to be some play nice. At the same time, there's still maneuverability, and even getting in a spot where you have to fold or getting a weird one, it's still got a pretty significant lead over Ole. So they're not just going to dance into nothing. And this is sort of a boring river. Would have been interesting to see. It's going to go probably check almost always once Yuri calls here based on their hands. But now, I mean, you're going to see the 9
right.
make the boat. But I mean, look, the last week we saw maybe the hand of the GGMillion where there was, I think, a Adamo over bet on a paired. So I think it was like deuce, queen or something, and it was like a check Adamo over bet pot, and the guy, the Korean player who ended up winning, got second, I believe. He ended up shoving all in for like, check raised all in. It was really cool hand, but yeah, this is interesting now. How does he want to play it?
It's so funny. We're sitting here watching the hand about to chop, and he's using his whole time bank. It's like, buddy, don't use the time bank. This is my guy. This is my horse.
Chess clock, as you mentioned, is running down there. You're not out if the chess clock is over, but you get no more decisions you get 5 seconds per street if that hits 0. So it does handicap your game. It does not allow you to have your whole thinking there. You get a very short amount of time, and we do see it come into play as Audemars, if he does make it to heads up at least or continue on here, he could definitely run into a 0 shot clock situation. He's down to a minute right now, just over a minute, and Yuri with 4 minutes, Ole 5:53. I think Ole was in one of the classic ones where like 2 players had zeros, and it was like a huge one, and it was super intense. I remember back in the day, and it definitely does impact play when you don't get to think extra than the 5 seconds per street.
See if Yuri can find a way to win this one. It's gonna be tough. I mean, Audemars has a bunch of Queen X that check call, and a bunch of Ace X, and some deuces, and some straight draws. I suppose blind versus blind Yuri could be value betting in position with a queen here. So
That's gonna go check, check though. Now
yeah,
with the 10, like you beat the deuce, like you're not getting probably
boring.
just a fold, boring river. Yeah, it's more. It is funny. Like it's such a huge swing of a card on the river if there's a brick or if what comes and they're not much gonna see as 4-5 suited. This is interesting. Short stacked to similarly, like it's a nice hand and he's going to rip it in and going to force some folds from hands such as the Jack 7. So again, 4-5 suited, just enough playability where it's not a very great hand, but it is a good semi bluff hand and does get the fold. King 7 now. Pretty sure always a master at the stack size, of course, as of most facets of the game, but he is someone that these players are aware they don't want to get him back to 2.2, 2.3, double up, get in the mix, and then he can cause a whole different array of problems. So this is right now 3-handed, and he is significantly the shortest. Would love to give them some trouble. He would make it interesting. I'm going to cue the giveaway in a second because we're already 3-handed and effectively, I mean, not counting all the way out, but we're close to heads up here. So we're going to cue the giveaway. Giveaway today. Good question. It is. Let's do.
This is worth noting that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Were you going
to? I'm going to put in the keyword. It's going to be GGPoker space Mike space your GGPoker username, enter, and that will be for the $50 or $100 GG ticket. I'll just put that in the chat. Up for grabs, and then again, Twitter, Jeff Gross Poker, cash, retweet, follow instructions. Good luck. Hit that thumbs up. That's part of it, as long with the thumbs up. That's if you're enjoying, of course.
So Audemars opened the button here. Ole just defended the King 6. Not a great flop for the King 6, but I imagine he's going to at least peel here. This is tough. This is tough for Ole. Because he can't withstand much pressure, but also this is not a great board or a great hand for Audemars to really get out of line with. But that might be a reason for him to bet again here. Because it's like a no equity hand and he can just give up. But generally, yeah, Ole's obviously happy to see that check and to hopefully show down. I think if Audemars was going to bluff it again, he would have done it on the turn. But maybe he's going to choose to throw this into one of his bluffs on the river and hope that he can get like a 4 or a 6 to fold here. But the thing is, Ole can have like Jack X with a Jack of clubs. I think he might find a call here. I don't think Audemars has enough like delayed value here.
Yeah, try to picture yourself with the whole cards down. You got the 6, no club, and wow, just
he turns it into a bluff.
Pretty special. Pretty special.
Wow.
I mean, he has the winner, but just again, just finds the box of the possibilities and takes one that maybe no one or many aren't even considering there, including myself. That was not what I would consider, but just shows you how dialed in to do it, but be right. And then the times, the argument is, oh, why not just call? Well, the times where you actually are losing and get a better hand, there's enough hands he figures that he's actually going to get to fold that that he's beat by. So pretty cool. Very cool hand. King 10, 5-6. Ole again hasn't doubled, but now he's starting to assert himself. Here he goes, going to raise. Got a pretty big favorite to win this pot as he has the 10, and Yuri doesn't have much. So back close to 2 million. Dangerous, hovering.
I remember 2010. I was playing with Ole. His name was Wizzo on Stars. Yep. And we were battling it out for the tournament leaderboard, for the yearly tournament leaderboard. Maybe that was 2011. It was like right before he ended up just playing live, and just he won a huge tournament live right after he won the TLB. And I remember I was heads up in a 5 quad, and he was on the rail like talking trash to me. It was really funny. It's like a brag now because he's such a legend.
I really, I don't picture him talking trash, but this is crazy because here he goes. And this is Adamar actually thinking, man, what is happening? Am I really going to, I'm calling now. And Ole has a chance to flip in the second, twos
Wow.
to ace nine. Adamar calls 9 ace king, pairs twice, needs to fade.
That's it.
Nothing now. 0%, doesn't need to waste the deuce on the river. Ole almost clawed back in. Adamar took a leap, did flip. Pure flip, deuces ace nine off, and that is a knockout. Ole, third place on the podium yet again. 242 now. We're playing for 66,000 roughly, a little about 65 and change going in. Golfer claps. Yes, Ole.
GG Ole.
Another very impressive finish. Probably see him at the WSOP as per usual, would imagine. And good luck, safe travels to Ole. And we are going to play here for the title. And again, second or fourth. Adamar going for his fourth. Yuri going for his second. We have got ourselves a Adamar. Oh no, you have Adamar.
Yeah.
You have Adamar. Pretty even flip here for our dinner, and the audience at home for 50 or 100. If you're the audience, you got to root. You're rooting for Yuri. I know you wouldn't mind losing the dinner for this one. Your buddy Yuri, and Adamar again. He's got three titles already. Yuri would get a second, so I'm Team Brazil here, and Adamar very impressive again, finding his way to another heads up, big payday coming his way, and still a lot to play for. So 66,000. We'll play to the winner. And last time I will mention, but I will be playing on Poker Go today. That's going to be on Ninja's Twitch channel. It'll be on Poker Go's, I believe, YouTube channel. And we're playing 50, 100. ElkY joining, Nate Hill, Joe L as well of the Nutcase energy drink. It's actually a cashew. It's not there's so many coffee and brain, all these drinks, but this is a cashew milk drink. They're doing a launch, and that is what we are. The game is for. So Joey Ingram going to be commentating, obviously legend. Always fun to see her. Joey in the back. He's a PLO guru. I think he's been working in Hold'em. Let's see his Hold'em analysis today. Might have to have Joey on for a GGMillion stream coming up. I know he's just such a PLO guy, but yeah, let's see if we can get him in the mix on a stream. I think that would be sweet. Be sweet on GGMillion.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out some of that stream today. I shouldn't be. Man. I have gonna work out later, and then should have the rest of the day off. If you want, I'll even chop with you right now. All right, you're giving up a little EV, but I really think Adamar might finish it off. You want to even chop?
I like it. I like the dinners. I got a spreadsheet of dinners to go through. So it ends up being yeah, it ends up, but it's fun. It's good. It's good. And Vegas is a good time to cash at 3 seconds, 4 seconds to Adamar on the clock. So we will see him probably with 0. I guess you got to give the nod to Yuri just in general. I mean, he's just with the live results. Adamar has three titles here. Definitely knows his way around. Probably pretty even with these stacks. Super even, and the experience super even. I think this is really too close to call. But the shot clock, this is one of those spots. Why do you have a clock? This type of thing. Here you go. 4 minutes to 0 effectively. So this is slight advantage for Yuri. I wonder how much it actually handicaps it. Definitely matters. Just don't know how much. And I guess it depends on the player too. But it also indicates that the player takes more time, right? He's got less time now, so he probably does utilize that. And some players use it as a balancing thing too, right? They take time when they have a big hand or they want to look. So there's some gamesmanship to the shot clock, chess clock, if you will.
This is actually pretty cool to witness, right? Two very experienced players playing 70 plus big blinds deep heads up, or 60,000 dollars. This is like a 60K heads up match, and they're both very good, but they're also tournament players, so they're not necessarily like heads up specialists, but they definitely believe they have an edge against these fields heads up. So they're going to be very good, and they're going to take. Yeah, I'm gonna be very mindful and like enjoy this heads up match for what it is, and kind of try to take some things away from it, because this is probably one of the things that people work on the least in MTTs. So getting to watch these two guys do this right now is a pleasure for sure. Yuri going to value bet the 2 pair. I mean, oh, wow. 10%. Audemars blocks the straight. He has a diamond.
Oh my goodness. I was
Yeah.
just going to say, it's just hard to believe he's going to
Yeah.
go for find it. He does find a bluff and gets snapped out of his pants by Yuri with the 2 pair. Just has his mind made up. Again, heads up, 2 pair, just such a strong holding. Gonna call, and now Yuri separation 9-6, and Audemars just showing that even with it, it looks strong, right? You don't have time, and you're going for a bluff there, and he did have a good candidate, I think, to make it, and Yuri just had the correct hand to call with. So again, guy's gonna put on a little bit of a show here, 9-6, 65K and change to play for, and the title really just trying to put it on the belt here. King 9, King 8, King 9 in the lead by a wide margin. King 8. No true, not really a semi bluff, right? He's got the King 8 high, doesn't have a straight opportunity, and does just check back. King high beating some hands. King 9 checking, and I guess, yeah, King high check back.
Yeah.
Winner Audemars. So it's tight. It is tight. It is tight up at the top. It is Jack 384, 6.4, 9.1 million, and a lot to play for. So much pride on the line. These guys know each other well. They battled a bunch. No time for Audemars. Yuri 355 healthy in the heads up department right now at the time bank. 8-4 going to start betting. Jack 3. Air ball does call. These guys are, I mean, look, this is scary. When you start getting like check called by Jack 3 high and you're behind, and it's just a man with a plan. Thinks he might have the best hand. King 10-10 and double barrel though. Gonna get the trick. Audemars just so confident, just follows through.
Naked aggression, just going for it.
Yes, just taking it down. You can see. So what, 11 million, those player profiles, the money fanned out, their player profiles fanned out. There's a look at the payouts there. 189 for third, 44 was our 9th place finisher. And you can see in 2022 and 23, Yuri top 50 in the GGMillion rankings with his earnings, finishes, and also Audemars. It's a rare matchup. This is a powerhouse final, top 50 in both seasons. It's top 25 this season in the world. I mean, pretty impressive. Guys both looking, you can see the wins. Yuri getting his win back in season 1, so that doesn't show up as a win. And there you go, Audemars 3, as we mentioned, 11 million to 15 million GG earnings, just all padding stats today across the board. Looking for the title. They got the final table pad, they got the earnings pad, they got the rankings pad, and now looking for the win cherry, that elusive number that you get to separate yourself. Adamo 8 titles. I think he did win last week. I remember he was all in. I call it with King 10 suited to. He was drawing one to come. He hit it, and then there was an amazing bluff. I believe the Japanese flag Korean player finished second. I want to say, and Adamo got his 8th title, and he did come back, and it was just a wild final table.
Yeah, there were some good highlights from that. I checked out a couple of the highlights. Is he going to turn this? Yeah, he probably just going to bet here. Just seeing that he was double barreling the 8-4, he probably is going to just bet because he can't win here if he checks. Yuri happy to show the ace-3 down for sure.
Yeah, I would think it's a decent one with the no heart and just one of the worst hands you can have. But again, it's you can see it. You're already getting to sort of get a taste for the time bank. 0 time bank in like 10 seconds even at a time, or 15 is like a huge difference. So to get zeros every street, like you see that takes a couple seconds, then 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a piece of a component to the game that helps, and he's gonna have to maneuver without that for the rest of this.
This is interesting that like this board went check. Like he decided to delay c-bet here instead of c-bet 9 high with an open-ended straight draw and an overcard. Like that's very interesting to me. I wonder like if these guys have random number generators, and like, I mean, with no time bake, maybe not, but I could definitely see Yuri doing it where he just, he knows that he's betting this 20% of the time and he just rolls and he's like, okay, it's a bet.
Yeah.
It's very hard to play against.
Yeah. Also, when you start talking about you want to play exploitative style, more lean towards or GTO. When you start getting to the higher echelon opponents and caliber, you start probably wanting to randomize, do more of that, right? Because it's just like you're not really going to be exploiting Yuri too much. But then at the same token, maybe even the best players, they have tendencies. There's experience. Maybe Audemars is really familiar with his game, or vice versa, more so than not. Just because a guy's great doesn't mean you really know how they play. Maybe you haven't played much with them. Maybe you're just not as aware. And also, it's similar, like people's game change heads up in six max. You play with the guy full ring a lot, you have a lot of hand sample, but you might never have played heads up with him either. So that's and then some players are stronger at heads up than others. So that's all the things to consider as Queen 10 and King 9. Pretty good spot for the King 9 on the Jack, Jack, Jack 9. Hard to make a pair, let alone a boat. He's got the 9, and now Yuri with Queen High, one of the worst hands he can have. I mean, heads up, I think Yuri's. I'd be shocked if he snap checks back. He does. I thought he'd think about betting, try to get a better hand to fold, but he's he's never getting a 9 to fold, and
I like the way that. Yeah, I like the way Yuri played that hand. Like, he can still fold out some better hands on the turn and draws. And then he also maintains position and can improve his hand and make a river decision. He also blocks some of his best 9x with his Queen 10. So like it just, I think it had good properties for a double barrel. But once he gets called, there's no longer any draws. And like he's just very Jack X and 9x heavy and maybe some ace highs. So I don't think Yuri can try to get him to fold on the river. But all right, so 4 and the 9 showdown. Yuri takes another one. I think we're in for, I don't know, chips have been flying a little bit, but we might be in for a very long heads up match.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I think it's hard to say. I mean, they are deep, and they just at the same time, right? We will see. I mean, it couldn't be more even, though. That's true, and it's likely going to take some hands, but at the same time, like you get 1 3-bet, 4-bet hand where it's big starting hands and some sort of collision. It can heads up is very unpredictable, very unpredictable. But you're right; these guys, I don't think are going to be punting it in. And gambling too light, so they know how to play. They like playing post flop.
Yeah, no time bank is rough. So 6s opens, Jack 8 calls. Another thing worth noting is like Audemars checked back the 9-6 on 8-8-7 or 8-7-7, and Yuri c-bet Queen 10 on Jack Jack 9. Like 2 completely different strategies. Where 9-6 didn't have showdown value, but like Queen 10 does, but can also improve to the nuts. Or to the nut straight at least. So he opens the button with the 6-4. Yuri makes the nut flush, and it gives Audemars the bottom end of the straight flush draw. Not a great draw for him. Yuri does check, and now he's obviously going to go for value. Just a question of, okay, I guess he believes that there's enough value bets here from Audemars or bluffs, so he can check. So the question here is he going to check raise or just check call?
I mean, he's got on a paired board, it's heads up with the nut flush, and he's going for it for sure. I don't think there's any version of him not. It just depends how much, and does go huge. And this is it's an interesting value bet. I'm a little. Are you surprised by the 6-4 bet here?
Not really. I think like it's kind of thin, but like you have to have thin value bets heads up. And obviously Yuri knows that he's capable of value betting thin and betting when he misses. So he checked the nut flush like after having checked on the check on the turn. Or check called the turn. I don't remember what the turn action was. But like the fact that he checked the river there was pretty tricky. And he thought Audemars would be value betting thinly enough. Probably not too much more going to go in here. So I guess maybe Audemars now balancing by just timing out as much as he possibly can. That's his balance.
Yeah.
You know?
And Mike, how much heads up do you do? I know you have a training course with Brian Paris, who actually happened to be the guest last week on the show. How much work and time and allocation do you give to heads up work in the course and in general?
Not a ton. I mean, I stay in my lane in that I play a lot of mid stakes. I used to live with, do you remember Rice Stud?
It sounds super familiar.
Wade Townsend, old heads
Okay.
up, sit and go grinder. He used to play high stakes heads ups. Yeah, and I've talked strategy with, like, you know, Pistons 87. You know, I'm sure you know Ankush. And,
Yeah, legend, absolute legend.
A little bit with Connor Drennan and obviously Cal and stuff. So I have, I believe that I have an edge against the fields I'm playing against. Am I beating like these high roller fields? No, they would crush me. I'm not beating the Chance Corniss of the world in, you know, heads up matches, but against the fields that I'm playing, I have a good understanding of the strategy. And Brian and I don't really focus on heads up. We do go through a couple of like tournament wins where we actually get heads up in the tournament and talk about heads up strategy. And Brian brings in some good insights, and I do my best to bring some insights too. But we focus on like how to navigate these big fields. Yeah, well, I don't
this is
think
what I'm saying. This
yeah.
is you, but at the same token, you know, Audemars wins the flip, he holds, and it's a coin flip cooler. Then we're back and we're battling again. So again, it can be quick, it can be over, but this is the type of hand. This is cards on their back for a title. Yuri for his second win out of 19 final tables, or will we play some more? Clean flop, 6 outs, 2 to come. Yuri, hello, has to fade one river card with 2 outs. It won't be. Yuri, your champion, 2-time 19 GGMillion final tables. Crazy. 308,000 getting pushed into his way. Second way. All the Brazilians out there, Boatardi, Praze, and there's your champion, Yuri, rocking it. What's that? He's rocking that MLK kind of logo there. He's just a man of the people. You'll see him in Vegas. He's got it going on, and that, as you said, a good friend of yours. He's been on my podcast, and always have a lot of love for Yuri. Congrats on the win, brother, and well played from Audemars. Great player. 3 titles. Gonna have to sit on that, as we saw Ole take third. The chip leader came in as the first biggest stack out in fourth, but top 4 going in the top 4. So any takeaways, Mike? Any surprises today? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, it was just really cool to watch so many talented players play in this situation for a bunch of money, and it's not too much to where the decisions are super stressful for them, for these guys. They would be for normal humans, but it was just enough for them to be making good decisions. We got to see Adamo in there battling. We got to see Ole Shemian battling. Yuri came out on top. I think it was just a really cool final table, and it'd be good to go back and like even like dissect these spots a little bit more. I think it was really cool to see. One of the things that sticks out in my mind is seeing how aware the bigger stacks were of the other big stacks and not clashing too much with them until they had to. And there was a spot where Audemars opened the button and Yuri was in the big with 10-6 off, and he folded. And then literally the next orbit, after someone busted, Ole opened and Yuri defended the 10-6, and he ended up winning that hand. It was exactly the same hand in the same spot against a different stack size. That was the only thing.
Flopped open-ended, led it. I saw, yeah, he really did play a great game. Again, pair of bends to all the Brazilians out there watching another special final table. We're going to be back for another GG Millions next week. And again, I'm in Vegas, and take a look here at the old WSOP round out the window. If we can see it a little clearer there on the bigger screen. There's the Rio, where so many memories have been made for so many, and we will be going to Bally's Horseshoe this year. Going to be playing live there. And again today, Poker Go, playing with Ninja, Helmuth, Nate Hill, some other great streamers, ElkY in the building, and be playing 50-100. So I hope you guys get to tune in and watch that. I'll see you next week. That is episode 50 in the books of GG Millions for this season. We will see you, Mike. Thank you for the time. Third time guest, guys. Appreciate you. Good luck. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you. Congrats, Yuri.